Have you ever felt like you're falling behind because you're not laser focused on one thing? Like if you're an artist and you're not eating and sleeping and breathing your craft, that somehow you're doing it wrong? Yeah, same. There's so much pressure to specialize, I feel like, especially in the creative world. I remember back in college, I constantly felt like I was behind because a handful of the writers that I knew had been writing since they were 5. And when we weren't writing for class, they were writing on their own, whether it was fan fiction or novels or short stories, whatever. And it always felt intimidating because I wasn't always writing. I was doing other things. I was playing music, I was drawing, I was playing video games, I was hanging out with friends, and it always felt like I was wasting my time and that I was never going to actually become a writer one day because I wasn't just always writing. And there's this idea, especially when you're young, that if you're not devoting every waking moment to your art, if you're not working 18-hour days, if you're not falling asleep in the studio, that you're falling behind. That the person next to you who is putting in more hours and putting in more reps will automatically be better than you. And to some extent it's true. Doing the thing will make you better at the thing. But it doesn't inherently mean that having a lot of interest and splitting your time and splitting your attention and creating something new isn't worth doing. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. Being a generalist, i.e. having multiple interests and passions, doesn't necessarily take away from your art. If anything, it can make it stronger. I mean, think about it. Creativity isn't just about what you do. It's about how you think. Every new skill, every different experience, it's like adding another color to your color palette or more tools to your toolbox. For example, like I'm a writer first. That's what I do. But I also am an illustrator. I'm also a musician. I have a podcast. I'm doing video. Am I a master at any of those things? No. But I feel like those experiences have shaped the way I think and made me a better creative overall. When I was into illustration, for example, and I thought that I was going to be an illustrator for the rest of my life, the storytelling skills that were kind of bubbling under the surface that led to me one day being a writer made my art better because I was interested in strong storytelling and, cinema, movies, things like that. It helped my framing. It helped me, be able to use my art to tell stories better. Now, as a writer, I rely a lot on rhythm. How my sentences sound, how it feels in my gut, how the paragraphs flow. And honestly, I think that's something that I picked up from music. Not to mention, if it weren't for some of the audio skills I developed as a musician, I may never have started a podcast. And if I never started a podcast, I might not be doing this right now because the speaking skills that I developed just wouldn't be there. At the end of the day, it's all connected. Plus, being a generalist makes you adaptable. The creative world is always changing. New tools, new platforms, new ways to share your work. Specialists are incredible at what they do, but generalists, we can pivot. We can pull inspiration from one field, apply it to another, and create something incredibly unique. So if you're a generalist, or you want to be, or you just want to better understand how all of the pieces fit together, here are a couple of things you can keep in mind. Number 1 is find a connection between your interests. Look for ways your passions overlap. What lessons can you carry from one skill to another? The more connections you find, the stronger your creative work will be. Number 2, be okay with not being the best. Generalists don't specialize at one thing, and that's okay. Your strength isn't in how well you do the one thing, but in how all of your skills come together to create something unique. And then number 3, embrace curiosity. Don't be afraid to explore. Pick up new hobbies, try something outside of your comfort zone, because every experience will make you a better creative. If there's anything you want to take away from this, it's that you don't have to lock yourself into one box to be great at what you do. Creativity doesn't care how many hours you grind or how perfectly you fit into some definition of an artist. What matters is the way that you connect the dots that no one sees, the way you take everything you've learned and turn it into something that only you can make. So don't hold back. Chase the things that excite you, even if they seem unrelated. Trust that it all adds up in a way that you can't predict. Because being a generalist isn't just okay. It's honestly an edge. It's adaptability, it's perspective, it's creativity in its purest form. So keep going, keep exploring, and don't worry, you're not behind. You're building something bigger, and those things take time.